they would want to do a part-time job, maybe in a
Oh,
restaurant
no.
somewhere, so that they can, get money to support their bills. Do you
Yeah.
think with how intense this program is, it will give you time to even do
Yeah.
that?
So let me just be very blunt.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked when you come in. It's not that easy, right? So come in at least knowing that at least for the first 5 to 6 months, you are going to be grinding. Yeah, that is the best way to be successful.
Wow. And can you also confirm that all of these accelerated nursing programs, they meet the standard to register for the NCLEX after the programs?
These are regular colleges, top
Okay.
end colleges that offer us, it's a track that offers accelerated program. They are accredited. I did it. And you write the NCLEX.
Stop that. Hi guys, today we are honored to have Madam Sylvia Abekwe, PhD, MPA, RN on our channel today. We are honored to have her on our channel. It was at a short notice. Guys, first of all, help me thank her that she's been able to make time for today's interview. And guys, she has a lot to share. I'm sure you get to know of it very, very soon. So for those of you watching me, I know that most of you benefited from a video I did on my channel about 2 years ago about the accelerated nursing program in the UK. And I didn't even know that there was something similar in the US. And that's what I'm going to discuss with Madam Sylvia today. Apparently, there's an accelerated nursing program in the US. Okay, guys, and we're going to get all the information about this particular accelerated program that we can from Madam Sylvia because she has experience, okay? And so, Madam Sylvia, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
So can you please tell us a bit about yourself? Where are you originally from? What are you doing now? Just something brief.
Oh, do you have time to listen to all that? I'm from Ghana. I came to the United States about 27 years, about 26, 27 years ago. So I've been here for a bit. I did my undergraduate at UST biochemistry, and then I came to the United States to pursue education and also to meet who was then my boyfriend, became my husband. So we came, and the rest is history. So anyway, what I do currently is that I am a nurse professor, assistant professor of nursing. I teach nursing. I have my PhD in nursing and I teach. Now, I also have two entrepreneurial journeys. I have two companies that I run. I'm the founder and CEO of My Nurse Pal Incorporated, which is a software startup health tech. And I also have a consulting firm, NSD Expert Education and Consulting Services. And what I do is I transition international nurses who want to come into long-term care, and I help them to ease into their practice. I also go out to facilities and I train long-term care nurses. That's one of the things I do. Now, the software health tech business is a very new business that we started just in January, and we are just about to go live in a few 8 days. We have our app for nurses that is coming up, and I'll probably share a little bit, one or two, about the app as the interview progresses. But yes, that's what I do. I do research also. So there's so many. That's why I was like, do you have time to listen to all that I do? I do a little bit.
I am so impressed. First of all, that's one, you're a woman like myself. That's two, you're a Ghanaian. That's beautiful. And now I don't even know what to ask next because I'm very interested about your coaching as well. You coaching other nurses. When you say long-term care, what exactly do you mean?
So long-term care are those who come in and want to work in like nursing homes, assisted living, home care. They all fall under long-term care bracket. So let me just give a little background. I've been a rehab nurse, right? So my area was in spinal cord, but most of my career has been in long-term care. For 20 some years, I worked there, went through the rounds, became a director of nursing at some point. So I'm more into all the ranks. I've done from CNA certified, which you guys call the carers in the UK. I was a carer when I was doing my master's. I did that in the night. And then second career for me was nursing, which we're going to talk a lot about, accelerated nursing programs. So I did that, transitioned into nursing, got my PhD in nursing. I was teaching, and I've done so many different things. But right now, what I've realized is that, one, nurses themselves that are even trained here struggle when they come right from school to practice. So I do a transition to practice program with my NSD consultancy. Then I had a friend kind of get me into trying to look into new international nurses that were coming from Ghana into the US to see if I could help to transition them into the practice, because obviously the regulations are kind of different here. And so they needed some hand holding to kind of ease them into the transition. So anyway, we signed on a contract to do that. However, we're just about to take off, and there's been a lag with regards to the getting visas to bring on nurses to the United States. So there's been a little bit of a halt on that. But currently what I do is I just go into facilities and I train them. I mean, long-term care facilities, and I train them on best practices and also on the regulations that govern their practices. That's what I do.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, please, what state are you in? Which state
I'm in
are you
Massachusetts. I am in Massachusetts. I'm about an hour from Boston.
Okay, all right. So with the transition program that you have for international nurses that are coming to practice in the US, do you have to be in Massachusetts, or it's an online program?
So it's an online program, but you do have to be here for the clinical hands-on aspect of it, so that I could make sure that you are well versed. So I have a clinical setup, skill setup, to make sure that you have met the competency. So once we finish the online piece of it, and then I introduce them to the EHR systems, and then after that, they get into going to a workshop or a boot camp for about a week, and then we get through all the skills down packed so that they go in more confident. And then it doesn't end there. I mentor them or I coach them for another 6 months. And the first few months, once they get started at work, I do it weekly. And then as a month goes by, we meet once a month just to check in how things are going. And I'm always available also to support them so that they can transition safely. Yes.
That's really great. Next time I'm in the US, maybe we'll come to Massachusetts and we'll do a proper in-person interview, and we'll talk about this particular other program. Yeah. But today we're talking about the accelerated nursing program in the US. So the one in the UK, right? It is about 2 years. How long is the accelerated nursing program in the US?
So it's interesting. In the United States, it varies. It goes between 12 months to 18 months.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, there's a catch, right?
Okay.
So like everything else, it's not a catch, but there's a prerequisites you have to meet, right?
Okay.
So let me just be clear. There are different programs that have different prerequisites, but the most common is that you should have had a bachelor's degree in any other field other than nursing, okay? So say you did psychology, you have finished psychology in college, you can still qualify for the accelerated nursing program. However, you'll be required to do all the sciences if you haven't had that, and vice versa. So let me give you an example. This is way back in 2002 when I even came. It has been in existence for years. In fact, a lot of schools run this program. And so most schools that have the traditional track, which is the regular 4-year colleges or 2-year associate, they do exist. But almost all those schools also have their accelerated track that you could take. So for me, from my experience, I'm just going to talk about my experience. So I did biochemistry in Ghana. When I came in, almost all my credits did transfer because I had a strong science background in biology, AMP, or microbiology, all of those things, and chemistry did transfer. The only things I lacked, because again, in Ghana, when you are doing science, I don't know if it's changing now, but when you're doing science, you are on a science track, right? You don't do a psych, you don't do none of that. So I was lacking in 2 psych prerequisites, which was abnormal psychology and also human growth and development. So what I did was that before I got in, they told me these are the prerequisites. So I looked for a small community college and I just took 2 courses over the summer and it transferred. So with that, I had met the prerequisites. If you have a degree already, they didn't require me to do an SAT, but they just wanted me to make sure that I had met the proficiency for TOEFL and all of those things. So that's the things that if you're an international student, you should do.
So for you, because you already had a bachelor's degree back in Ghana, you were able to do the things that you were falling short of. And then you did the accelerated nursing program. So for you, how many years was it?
The same number of years. My program was 18 months, and so I did it in 18 months. Okay. But let me just clarify something. So I came here, I did my master's here in public administration. So before I went to do my nursing was a second degree. But it doesn't matter. Even if you're coming to the United States, you apply just like you're coming to any college, like you would coming to apply to do any of the courses, right? And you would take the accelerated track. There's a set of prerequisites you have to do. There's 2 types of programs. So one of them would ask that you have met all the prerequisites before application. So in that case, you start to prepare. So for those who really want to get into the accelerated program, start to take off these courses in community colleges or any of these colleges to make sure that they have met all the full requirements. There's also other schools, especially currently where I teach. We run an accelerated bachelor's bachelor's program also. But ours is kind of, there's two tracks even within our accelerated bachelor's program. We have those that are the second bachelor's, like they have already done a degree, and then they come again, they meet the criteria, and they come straight into join the program. And then we have one for traditional students, meaning that they're coming out of high school, they come in and they take a year of all the sciences. So then they are bridged to the accelerated program. So they come in and then they do all the sciences, the AMPs, the stats, the chemistry, all of that throughout the whole year. So for them, it's not 18 months. For them, it's going to be 20, I believe it's 24 months, because they have to go through a year of doing all their prerequisites before coming into the program, and then they bridge them. So it's still accelerated because it's not going to be 4 years. You end up with a 4-year degree, but I think they use about 24 months or two. I believe that's about correct. So every program is different, but there's a lot of them out there, and the rigor differs. Okay. For my program, for some of them are 12 months. So let's say that there are some that are 12 months, and they are accelerated and very fast and very intense. And it's not for everybody. I'll just say that it's not for everybody. It's very intense. Yeah.
So the one in the UK, it's very similar, but unlike the one in the US, if I understand you correctly, the one in the UK, they don't care what you did as your first degree. Okay. So it can be accounting, it can be whatever. They don't care. And then they will not require you to do any top-ups, because even if you didn't do any sciences, they will not require you to do any top-up. However, because it's a condensed program, what they are most concerned about is the clinical aspect. Okay, so they'll want you to prove that you have done any sort of job where you had interactions with people, and they'll count that as part of the clinical hours, because you need certain specified number of hours that you need to prove that you've interacted with people before you qualify to get the license. So for instance, if let's say you're a bank manager, you did business administration as your first degree, you can apply for the accelerated program. However, you'd have to prove that as a bank manager or as a teller, let's say as a bank teller, you did interact with people, and then you show how you applied nursing principles, in your field of work as a teller. Once you're able to prove that, that's enough. They wouldn't say that go and do chemistry because as a bank manager, you never did chemistry. No, they won't do that. Just proof, and then they'll have an interview, obviously. And then if they see that you're able to apply whatever principles in nursing to, let's say, you prioritizing people, you advocating for people, and all of that in your field of work in general, is accepted. But if I understand you correctly, for the US, if there are certain science courses that you did not do as part of your first degree, you'll be asked to take them. And then it could be that you'll be asked to take them prior to being accepted into the program, or for some of the programs, you'll be accepted, and whilst you're on board, you meet those ones, and then you're good to go.
That is exactly right, because the accelerated program as defined here is that you go straight into the nursing proper. So even for our 4-year colleges, you know that the first year is all the sciences and all of that. So what the accelerated program has done is that it's kind of bridged off of that. So you're coming straight in to start to do fundamentals from day one. And so we want you to have the background, because when we start to do pharmacology, we are not going back to chemistry. You should have used your knowledge of chemistry to build on. So it's just like real nursing, right? And then there's a lot of clinical hours inbuilt into this program. So you still do that many clinical hours, just like you would do in a regular 4-year accelerated program. And then for my program, we had the whole semester. The last semester I was in the hospital with the preceptor. And so you did the 3 months, and there were goals you had to meet. So you come out fully ready. But again, the programs differ. Some programs are more rigorous than others. So you have to do your research and know which programs are top class programs. Otherwise, when you go out into the field, you will struggle.
Wow. And how much is the tuition? Like averagely, what are we looking at?
The tuitions vary. The private universities are on the upper end of it. So it could range from about 40,000 a year without scholarship to the state universities, which are, but most international students will have to come and pay international fees. But for those of us who have citizenships and live in the state, those are cheaper, and sometimes they range in the 20s for a year. So the school fees vary, but the private universities are expensive. However, most of them also offer financial assistance or financial aid, especially the private ones. It's easier. So there's a catch-22. The state colleges are on the lower end, but hardly would you get a good package, but like really a good, because it's taxpayers' money pretty much. So although it's low, no, they don't really give too much in terms of financial aid. But with the private universities, though they have high school fees, because they have usually big endowments and things like that, they are more likely to be able to, if you meet their criteria, needs-based or academic-based, they can be able to give you some financial aid packages that will help you. Yeah.
Okay. Noted. So, let me ask, can you confirm that this accelerated nursing program is available for international applicants?
Yes, I teach the accelerated program, and I have students from Nigeria. I have students from Ghana coming through the accelerated nursing program as F1, because it qualifies for full-time. Right? Okay. Because every semester you're taking a full-time load of courses. There's no instance where you're going to be doing a part-time basis, because that's one of the biggest criteria to establish or to maintain your F1 visa. So I did it too. I'm an international student. I did it as an F1. So to answer your questions, yes, you can. Yes.
Yeah. And because it's intense, you know that if somebody is traveling from, let's say, Ghana to come to the US to do a program as an international student, usually they would want to do a part-time job, maybe in a restaurant somewhere, so that they can, get money to support their bills. Do you think with how intense this program is, it will give you time to even do that?
So let me just be very blunt and very to the point. So yes, F1 allows you to work just 20 hours on campus, right? I have students who struggle. It's very fast paced, especially if you don't have a nursing background, you don't have a science, and you're now coming in with psychology. Your learning curve is steep. And now the course volume is 4 years into 18 months. It's a lot of reading, a lot of topics, a lot of critical thinking. It's difficult. So what we see is that students who spend time going to school really don't do well. And if you repeat, sometimes you are getting an opportunity to repeat. But if you repeat, remember, to keep your F1 status, you have to have full-time status. And so you would have to take on other courses from other departments to make your full-time hours, because probably you failed just one course out of the 3. You can take all 3 again. You have to just take one. And one is not enough to meet your F1 status. So you have to now go to chemistry department, which is more money, and pick on these other courses just to keep a full-time commitment. Wow. You see the trick? So my goal is that, or my advice, I did it. So for the first 8 months or so of the program, when I was trying to find my feet, I did not work. It was the toughest time for me. I'm not even going to lie to you, because there's no income coming in. My husband was on a stipend. It was tough, but I pulled through it because I knew that was critical times when you're learning, you're adjusting to the environment, to the country, to everything. You need to be focused to do well. So after about 8 months into the program, when I felt a little bit confident, right? I felt confident. I knew I had put my GPA in a very good place, and I now knew the system in. I'll take on weekends. I would go work weekends as a PCA or a carer weekends, and then just to kind of also get that human interaction, the skill. It was all very good in an assisted living, which was not even as intense as a hospital or anything like that, and did school, and I did fantastic with that. I have students who struggle through, and some of them also work on the weekends, but because they have to. And their journey has not been that smooth for some of them. Unless, of course, you're very, very, very smart. Even that, I'll say that the first semester, just get your foot in, find your feet, know how things are going before you plan to, okay, so that kind of mentality, you'll be shocked. When you come in, it's not that easy, right? So come in at least knowing that at least for the first 5 to 6 months, you are going to be grinding. Yeah, that is the best way to be successful.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, they need to know. So
yeah, they do. Because let me add this. A friend of mine was just telling me the other day that at her accelerated nursing program, they have to have the students sign on a contract that they were not going to work during the program. So that tells you how important some of these programs take it. Our program, we don't do that. We don't let you sign on any commitment not to work. But in some programs, they do, because they found out that if you work, the outcomes are poor.
Wow. And can you also confirm that all of these accelerated nursing programs, they meet the standard to register for the NCLEX after the programs?
These are regular colleges, top
Okay.
end colleges that offer us, it's a track that offers accelerated program. They are accredited. I did it. And you write the NCLEX because
Okay.
the curriculum is such that, okay, so NCLEX says that you have to have met a minimum criteria, right? And so you should have had so many hours of clinical and so many hours of didactic. And
Yeah.
that is why it's crushed. And so they make sure that you meet all of those criteria and all of those clinical hours, and then before you can even qualify to write the NCLEX. And most of these programs are accredited. And so you have to also do your homework because, like everything else in the US, there's a lot of schools, and some of the schools also are very dicey. Not many, but you have to make sure that the school you're going into has accreditation.
One. Yeah.
Yes. And you can find that easily by going on their website, calling, find out, doing a few things, right?
Okay. Now, if we compare people that go for the usual 4-year, program, and then those that take the accelerated one, in terms of their pass rates with the NCLEX, do we see that they are performing at the same rate, or do we see that the people that did the 4 years have a higher chance of passing the NCLEX? What is it like?
No, it depends on your program. So how your program prepares you is how you're going to do in your NCLEX. It has nothing to do. What I have seen though, personally, as a professor that has 2 tracks, where we have traditional students who are those coming right from high school, go through that 1-year program and bridge into it. They're still very young and still immature, and sometimes it's very difficult for them to be successful. They struggle. They really struggle. Those who have already gone through a 4-year college are very mature when they come in, and they know why they're there, and they're a little bit older, and they do better in terms of the easing for them themselves, even within the learning. So, for example, when I do an exam,
they know what they want. Yeah,
exactly. When I do an exam, you can see the scores. The scores vary, but not to say that there are some students who are coming from that do extremely well too, from high school that do extremely well. But I'm just saying on the average, just looking at it on the average. So it doesn't affect how your pass rate is going to be, because the school will not progress you if you are not meeting their benchmark. So every program has predictors that they've incorporated into the courses. So whilst you're in school, you'll be doing predictors. Like we have something called the ATI exams, which tells you how you do on your NCLEX, or they have the SC exams, which sometimes will tell you what level you are. Every school would want their students to have reached that minimum level of competency ready to before they sit for the NCLEX. So again, to answer your question, it's the school's responsibility to provide you with the resources to put you at the point where you're going to pass. So there isn't any difference in terms of the NCLEX pass rates. Okay. So there isn't much difference there. No.
Yeah. So now, what advice would you give to somebody who is, let's say, in a different field altogether, and they are struggling to find a good job? They know that nurses are always in demand, the salary is good, so they want to now pursue this accelerated nursing program. Probably they have a degree already in another program, be it maybe they're already in the US or maybe they are outside the US. What advice would you give to such a person before they embark on this journey?
So I would say that it's a good opportunity for them to come in. We are looking for nurses, and we would really want them to come in. Now, when you come in, like I said, these are the advice I would give. When you come in, you should be focused and know that you are going to be giving it to 100%, because it takes that amount of time to be able to be successful in the program. Now, 18 months, and for some cases 12 months, it will come by very fast. So you have to sacrifice. And so if you are someone, you have to cut off your costs. If you're in the US already, you have to cut off a few things that you love to do. You have to know that during this time you're going to be grinding, and therefore some of your friends have to be understanding of you. You give it your 100%, because when you do well, you know that, right? You get your job is right there. You're going to get a good job, and the demand is there. So my advice is that come in ready to run. And also, like, we have this habit, when we come, we don't buy textbooks. Okay. I can tell you that the textbooks and the resources that we offer is for a reason. Okay. So please, I'm pleading. If you are thinking of going to do one, just do what I know. Sometimes cost is a problem. I'm saying this from experience, okay? I'm saying this because I have students who struggle because of these things. Buy the textbooks. Seek help early when you're in any program. Don't wait. This is not Ghana. The faculty, we are here to help you, right? I know that sometimes in Ghana, you don't want to go to the professor because we're not used, it's not part of our culture to go and bag the professor, and the professor will not even look at you when you come to them. So I get it. But here is different. When you come in, immediately after the first exams, you see how you do. Right away, seek help. Call the professor for a consultation one-on-one and let them sit with you and see what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. Don't wait till the second exam or third exam before you start to look for help, right? And looking for help doesn't make you weak, right? I rather would have my students seek me out early so that I can help them out to do good. So that's the advice I have. Don't be shy. Ask questions in class. If you are already thinking of that, once you get in, don't be at the back of the room and don't be quiet. And I always tell my students, it's a good opportunity to even talk about this. I always tell my students that no matter how silly you think your question is, ask it, because there's somebody in that classroom who wanted to ask the same question but didn't have the confidence to ask. Yeah. You will do yourself harm if you don't ask the question for yourself, because guess what? When the bills are coming, it's you that you're going to pay your school fees. So you have to get the best out of the class, right? Don't worry who is sitting next to you. If you don't understand anything, ask it. Even if they frown at you, ask it, because guess what? That's how you're going to be successful. And once you do all of these things, I don't see where your barriers would be at all. You would be successful. And then seek mentorship, right? Seek mentorship. That's the advice I have for you. So come on, we are here. If you come into, you can do for me.
Well said. Because you see, with the UK, the accelerated nursing program, it has helped so many families. You know how there are lots of nurses coming from Ghana to the UK, right? But then when they come, sometimes they have very educated spouses or partners, but their partners end up doing, let's say, cleaning jobs or carer jobs, no disrespect to carer jobs, or something that is a bit lower than what they were doing back in Ghana. And this is because, let's say, there are no job opportunities in their field in the new country where they are in. But ever since they introduced this, because they most probably have a first degree from wherever they are coming from, it has been of tremendous help. So you go in, you're serious, like I said, you know what you want, and then you quick, you'll be able to also work as a nurse, just like your partner. So in this case, for people moving to the US as well, even the US one is even shorter, like 12 months, 18 months, if you're serious, that is really, really great. And should I say Dr. Sylvia or...
either or, I don't mind, either or.
I am very, very grateful that you have really explained this well. I know that there are other things that you do that you mentioned that I know that people will be, maybe somebody wants to speak with you, further, because probably there's a question that I have not asked yet or something. How do they reach you? And how can they access your platform that you're yet to launch and all of that? How can we get access to you after this interview?
So you can get me, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very vocal on LinkedIn. I blog almost every day or two. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can find me, Sylvia Bekwe, on my LinkedIn. I'll give you the link that you can actually post on your YouTube channel. You could also go to our website, www.nsdexpert.com. Expert as in...
kindly send it to me and I'll leave them in the description.
Okay. And then obviously, in my email, I'll send you with my email as well, so you can find me. So I just want to say one thing here, if I have the opportunity to. So our app for nurses is a global application that launches May 19th. It's available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. My Nurse Pal, and it's an AI tool it's a nurse coach. If you're coming from Ghana and you don't know the American system, you need to run and get that system. It helps. I'm telling you, it has a nurse coach in there. If you have any questions, it will guide you. We've trained it to use the clinical judgment model, the nursing process, to answer most questions. You can prioritize your task. You can create your to-do list. Anything you need, it's in there. And there's
what kind of question can I ask?
Any question.
Like what? Give me an
example. So if you want to help me to write a care plan for this, it will help you. Okay. I have these symptoms. What are some of the things that I could potentially do? It can help you. There's equipment I'm not sure how to use, right? It could help. Great. Yes, it is a great resource. And then it also has a mentorship community within it. So anyone who has the application, if you're not sure about something, you can ask the big community and everybody will jump in and support you.
Wow.
So it's that. And also you can set alarms to your task. It can help you prioritize your task. And guess what? You don't have to write your SOAP notes anymore. You just voice to text. You just voice it and your notes are written for you. It's an amazing tool.
And then you can just copy and paste on another
Yes,
platform.
yes, absolutely. You can do just that. And
Wait.
so, yeah, once you're taking report, right from taking reports, no, it's just like you can just voice your reports room by room.
Can it edit my nurse's notes for me?
It will do everything for you.
Hey.
So we are excited. We are excited.
When it is launched, then
19th May.
then
19th May. Oh, that would be nice.
Section, then people will join. We'll tell them to download, and then you help them through it.
Oh, that would be fantastic because they would really, really enjoy it. It's a great app. It's not because it's been years of research. It's not because I was the founder of the company. No, it's not because of that. But I felt that there's a need, especially for new grads. And so this year, and those coming from outside, this is a fantastic tool. I also have a book. If you're coming to the United States, you can purchase on Amazon. My Navigating Long-Term Care, a Practical Approach for Nurses. It's a must-have book for anyone coming to the United States, especially to work in a nursing home or a long-term care, and you don't know the regulations. It's on Amazon. That's the book to get. And so look for it. Navigating.
Please send me all the links and I'll attach them to the video.
I will do that.
And we are super proud of you. The fact that you're a Ghanaian, and look at all your accolades after your name. Look at everything and all the things that you are still doing. And you're a mother too. You've done well. We are proud of you. Thank you so much, Madam Sylvia, for coming on board, and God bless you. Guys, if you want to reach Dr. Sylvia, I'll leave all her details at the bottom and in the description. And just reach out to her on LinkedIn, go onto the website, check up on all that she's doing and all of that. And she'll definitely be back for more. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.